What's going on, everybody? I'm your boy Retro Bliss, and you are on the Retro Bliss Rewind podcast. Welcome. Good evening to you guys. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk about OG Xbox. Yes, the original Xbox. I got some good memories with that, and I won't go through all of them, but I did get it when my kids were kind of adolescent, a little older, and so the games kind of, progressed in difficulty, so it was a good time. So anyway, I'm going to bring Mike from Mike's Gaming Gala, who is one of our regular panelists, Brian from BD Retro Mods, another regular panelist, and a special guest regular panelist, my buddy Casey, the Intellivision Gamer. We were talking on Discord, or not Discord, Facebook Messenger, and about the show, and he was telling me how he loved the Xbox and the games and stuff, and so we didn't have a fourth. I'm like, you know what? Come on, we want to hear your story. So what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to jump in. Brian is going to give us a history of the Xbox and tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll go around the horn and talk about maybe some accessories and our favorite games. So go ahead, Brian, hit it.
Yeah, so to no surprise, the Xbox was the first home video game console manufactured by Microsoft. Do any of you guys have the actual console itself out?
I don't have it out, but
okay, yep. But it was released here in November of 2001 for the North American release, followed by Australia, Europe, and Japan in between February and March of 2002. It is considered a sixth generation console that ended up competing with Sony's PlayStation 2. Very shortly for Sega Dreamcast, because as we know, unfortunately, the Sega Dreamcast kind of died out there, just discontinued very shortly after, and Nintendo's GameCube. One of the big things, at least in the North American side, was that it was also the first major console produced by an American company since the Atari Jaguar. So, and with that, it was also the first console to feature a built-in hard drive, because again, it was coming from Microsoft, who normally made stuff for the PC market and did games for the PC. And with some concerns that console gaming, we've heard this numerous times throughout video game history, so there's always this fear of console gaming and PC gaming and which one's going to overtake the other. And Microsoft was concerned with that, and that's why they wanted to get into the console market. And one of the unique things with it is when they did that, they designed the console to kind of be like a PC. That's why you had the hard drive built into it. That's why you had, the Ethernet port on the back of the console right off the bat. You weren't needing extra things for that. And
also, a lot of people don't know this, but the first HD console.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of people like, oh yeah, that's the 360 and the PS3. No, the Xbox had native capability to export HD.
It did. I mean, you needed to have a special, you had to have a special adapter for it.
Well, no, not. They had their proprietary connector, but you could get component cables.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because
the one that I have is actually the S video.
Yes, there are a lot of different adapters. There's even an RF converter one.
Yeah, I know. But then one of the other big selling points, with the Xbox was, unlike the PlayStation 2. Well, actually, I'm sorry, the PlayStation 2 could play DVDs, but the Xbox could play DVDs, but for whatever reason, they required you to have the DVD remote to actually be able to do it. You could not play the DVDs just using the controller. You had to have the remote plugged in, which was a little silly in my opinion.
And the funniest thing, I would show one right now because I do have one, but just before we started the podcast, I was like, I think I know where it is, and I went to go grab it, and it was the PlayStation Sony remote.
Oh yeah.
Oops.
Yeah,
I have one. I'm like you guys. I'm
sure we all have one. Yeah,
I think every single person bought one because it was because I think the remote was like $20 at the time. It's like, well, yeah, if it gives me an extra DVD player, I'm going to
add a little sensor that you'd plug into the controller port. Yeah.
Yep. So, but then it had a very good record-breaking launch in North America. Going off Wikipedia, apparently they sold 1.5 million units before the end of 2001, which is really good, seeing that was only about a month and a half being out. And a lot. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, before you go further, Torque makes a good point here that I had never even thought of. It was a licensing thing. They wanted to avoid including the license cost in the console, tied it to the remote and the receiver.
That makes sense. I mean, still silly, but makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a record-breaking launch there in just like a month and a half in North America. They sold 1.5 million units. And a lot of that had to do with the popularity of a lot of the system launch titles, because unlike the Dreamcast, that unfortunately struggled with some third party, they didn't have nearly the third party support like they had with the Genesis and so forth. That Microsoft was able to get, they didn't have everybody, but they did have a lot of good third party support, and they brought companies that were normally with the PC market, making actual stuff for the consoles. So, and like Bethesda and stuff. So, but obviously the launch game, some of the launch games that really sold the console was Halo, Project Gotham Racing, Dead or Alive 3. There was probably about a dozen or so games released at launch, but those were probably the most popular ones. The other ones that were out at launch was Fusion Frenzy, which I liked it. It was a fun party game. And Oddworld, Munch's Odyssey, Amped, Freestyle Snowboarding, Azaric, Bloodwake, which that was a good one, Nightcaster, which I liked, but I know that's not as popular. And then NBA Inside Drive, which I don't think I ever even played that one. So,
well, and then eventually, and we'll probably get to this when we talk about the games, they got a lot of support from Sega and a lot of exclusives from Sega.
Right. And that's the thing, like once the Dreamcast ended, they worked out because, which was actually my next point, because they were trying, which would have been so cool in my opinion. Microsoft was trying to get Sega the license emulation to where Dreamcast games could play on the Xbox, but that never ended up going through. However, they did do an exclusivity agreement with Microsoft where there was, I believe, 11 games that they were going to make exclusively for the Xbox, which is kind of cool, because in some ways, there's always, well, what if there was a Dreamcast 2? And in many cases, the original Xbox kind of was. I mean, not fully, but the fact that Sega put so many of their popular titles as exclusives for that console kind of really showed that. So,
it made it a lot easier for people to do things like Torque did. He had no intention of buying one, but just happened to remember the good old days when you walk into a Best Buy and you're like, oh, I'll drop a few $100 on a new console. Why not?
Right.
Nowadays, you got to take a second mortgage.
I was on launch day.
Oh yeah, no, I was one of the folks that got one on launch day. Like I was so excited to see that there was, like, because again, after the unfortunate fall of Atari, it was just so cool to see there's another American company that's going to try to focus on games for our audience. Not that you didn't have games on other consoles for our audience, but it was going to be more of a focus and kind of blend some of those PC style games into a console format. So
I just want to address Drunky Cheese here. The original Xbox was a tank. What are you doing to those things? Like, there's that one big resistor or capacitor that you have to remove,
right?
Because they leak. But damn, dude, what are you doing to your Xboxes?
I was gonna say,
original Xbox go bad. Xbox 360, yes.
Yeah, 360 is a whole nother ballgame.
It rings a death.
The first model of 360 and the first model of PS3. I mean, what a terrible. Almost everybody I knew had either red light of death or red ring of death or yellow light of death.
Mm-hmm. Somehow my original PlayStation 3 avoided that. and even
my
to this
original
day, it still
Xbox
works.
360 also avoided it. I don't know how.
Yeah, I did not. Mine did have the
You roll your dice.
buttons. Yeah. But then, like I said, they got that support, and overall, the console did well. Well. Now, again, most of that was in the North American market. They would go worldwide totals, because again, it would be discontinued between 2005 2006, depending on region. But the system sold worldwide around 24 million units. 16 million of that was in North America. But the crazy part with all this, and only Microsoft could do this, even though it sold well, it actually sold better than the GameCube, that they lost so much money on this thing. Like, they were selling that console at such a loss that when it was all said and done, during the whole market life of the original Xbox, Microsoft lost over $4 billion on this console. I mean,
And
there is no other
Yeah.
company that would be like,
For
"Let's
Microsoft
go
at
eat
that
4
point in
billion."
time, it was just like,
Yeah, right. It was nothing for them. But I mean, any other company, it would have folded under in months. I mean,
oh yeah, that would have bankrupted pretty much anybody else.
yeah, and they would have been like, "We are definitely not making another one." And as we know, that's not the case with them. So,
But also, I mean, you can't, there's not many situations where you can be like, good job, Microsoft. This is one that you can. They, far from perfect, but they did it right. They invested in having the most powerful system, something. They invested in games, they invested in marketing like a buttload, and they put and they invested in what they thought the future of gaming was, with that Ethernet port and a live service that, like, it was the first live service to actually become popular.
yes.
So they did a lot of things right, and that cost them that $4 billion or whatever.
Yeah, and that is the one thing I forgot to mention in the history, because it really was the first console to get online gaming right. I mean, Xbox Live was huge, when compared to everything else. I mean, such a big deal,
especially by the time it got to the 360.
Yes, but then of course there's the controllers and other things to talk about, but I purposely avoided that because we're going to talk about those here, I think, next. So.
And Justin saying here that Microsoft was willing to take a bath on the Xbox because they wanted to prevent Sony from moving into the computer space. And that was certainly another thing to, like, you're going in and you're fighting the champs. It's going to cost you.
Well, they had the
money
capital to do it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because the reality is no other game. I mean, I don't even think Nintendo could have pulled that off. Like losing that kind of stuff. All the other ones
certainly not at that stage.
Yeah.
Even when they were number one, I don't think they would be able to take that kind of bath.
Right.
So it launched with, and there's already been a bit of talk in the chat about this. I didn't mind it, but I did kind of chuckle when I first saw the Duke, as they call it, the original Xbox controller.
Duke. Yes.
It is
ginormous.
It very much is reminiscent of like an evolution of the Dreamcast controller. It big,
does. Yep.
It's kind of wieldy. There's that massive logo there. It's just, I've got big hands. Casey mentioned that he does too. So like, I never had a problem with it, but the Xbox really came into its own with the S controller later.
Yes. Right. And the S controller was designed more initially for the Japanese market, just because of the fact that it was doing so, bad over there ultimately, that then they kind of revisit, which then once they did that, they brought it over here for us to use. And, I'm torn with it. Like, I think I don't mind the Duke. You're right in the sense that it's somewhat reminiscent of, the Dreamcast and a little bit of how that was. I don't know. I kind of laugh in the sense that I don't know what it was with American companies feeling, though, that they had to make their controllers so ginormous. Because, again, you think about the last American company that actually had a home console prior to this. Let's talk about the Atari Jag. So, and we all know how many people love that controller. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know what it is.
There is something else to it. I remember part of the advertising for the Genesis was that it had a big controller. It was for adults because it had that big 3-button controller, right? And then what's the controller that everybody prefers now? It's that small 6-button controller. It's just so it was. Go ahead. Well, I was just like, it was a thing outside of just North American companies.
Yeah,
but to me, what led up to from that to what we have now, the Xbox controller, the base layout and the feel and the playability of it, I prefer over any controller. Unless I'm playing a 2600 game, I definitely have to use a CX40 or a clone or something. But other than that, if I'm emulating or whatever, if I can use that type of control, that's the hot ticket. I prefer that.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I mean, I think, again, because this is on original Xbox, the 360 is where they really got it, I feel, right.
Yeah.
And then,
although this is what led up to it.
Yeah. The biggest difference, really, there are some small layout differences. For instance, your select and start here go back to where they belong by the time the 360 comes out.
Yeah.
But the white and black buttons, I never really understood that. I understood that it was so that you'd have 6 buttons here, kind of like a 6-button Sega controller.
But the placements were horrible.
The placements were bad. You're going to press A and you accidentally hit black.
Yeah.
One thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, because you try to play like the like fighting games, like the SNK games, the Capcom games that were on the console. I mean, this layout was just not good for that at all, because of the way of, like, now if those white and black buttons were maybe like right here, like they going in the same, going down in the same angle, like, I think it would have
been better.
But even like with the S, I think they went too far low. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
because there isn't enough edge here.
Right. And I don't know. But it is interesting how much, though, the Duke is reminiscent of a Dreamcast controller, even with having the trigger buttons in the back, you know, and everything. I mean, it does seem like it was modeled a lot off of that. And I do, like others say, like,
before you move on, I did want to say there are 2 features that Xbox brought in that have become pretty mainstay standards that are absolutely phenomenal. First of all, the analog triggers. As a fan of racing games, and people are like, oh, the PS3 had sensitive buttons, so if you press the button lightly, it's not a trigger, man. Like, stop.
Not the same.
And then even when it got to the PS4 and they had the little flipper things, it's like, no, sorry. Triggers are where it's at. Give me the triggers. But also your analog joysticks. This was the first controller that you could press them down and they were button presses. So, and that's become a mainstay. Like, if you want to run, you press down and you move forward in like a first-person shooter or something.
Yeah. Well, and again, and just them where they place the analog sticks, because I prefer this over PlayStation.
Ever since this came out, this has been the offset sticks has been my preferred play method. I know people who swear by the side-by-side sticks, but like Casey had said earlier, I've got big hands, and if I've got both sticks in the middle, sometimes your finger moves up and it's on the ball of your thumb, and then you're hitting yourself, and it's like, no, it never happens here, and my hands cramp up less.
And another thing too is that your thumb is a lot lower on both of them, so it can be a little bit more awkward to hold, especially if you have big hands. So those sticks on the bottom, I mean, they're playable. I like them, but I prefer the Xbox style.
Yeah.
And I will
placement.
I will totally agree with Social Gamer here. Xbox has never, like, the Xbox One controllers aren't bad D-pads, but like the 360, even the 360, the Duke, and the S, none of them had good D-pads. They're mushy. They're way up high off of the circuit boards, so they have more movement to them.
Well, and again, I think a lot of that is because no one was allowed to duplicate Nintendo's design.
Yep.
I mean, so
and now with the Xbox One controllers, you can. So you've got like a proper
right.
That's why.
Yeah, because it's like that. Yeah, I forget what. But
the patent
they had
expired.
the patent expired. So like it was one of those where, I mean, that's why like even regular PlayStation and stuff. That's why you had the D-pad the way it was, because no one was allowed to copy that.
Mind
style.
you, and I'll bring this one up, which everybody in the green room laughed at me. Mad Catz normally sucks. They, for some reason, made really good original Xbox controllers. This feels like it doesn't feel flimsy. I've never had a problem with any of the analog sticks or buttons or anything. But you'll notice here, they've got a Nintendo-style D-pad.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not exact. No, it's not exact, but it's that cross D-pad.
Yeah.
Which says to me, Microsoft could have did it. Could have done it.
Well, and they got a little better with it on the S model, but it's still not.
It's
good,
still mushy though.
Yeah.
And but also, in fairness, it much more reflects a Genesis style D-pad.
Right.
Like a Sega style D-pad. So
yep. That's true.
But yeah, I've got tons of Mad Catz. Like, you buy a lot for any system, there's going to be like 5 Mad Catz controllers in there. This is the only one I swear by. This thing is a tank. It's the only quality Mad Catz product I own. Why don't we talk about the 2 slots at the top?
Yeah, so the slots were for memory cards, and even though you could technically save the games onto the hard drive, the whole point of this was kind of like if you were going to go to a friend's house or you wanted to back up your game data, you could. So this this one is the actual Microsoft branded one. So and then this one was actually a third-party Mad Catz, to be exact, that I had. So
now I will say it was not only for, like, you've got 2 slots there. It wasn't only for memory cards. You could also plug your headset and mic into here. There were some other accessories too. I'm not sure what all of them were, but I know specifically for live gaming, you could plug a headset into these. They're really just expansion ports for your controller. And there was and you could plug them into the system itself, I believe, right? Or no?
No, you could not.
I think it was
no. I was thinking, I'm blurring the lines between PlayStation and
But the actual controller port was a proprietary version of a USB port. So like so that's also why a lot of that expansion was able to happen off the controller as well. So
another thing, because you're talking about the port, is this saved my life. I don't know how many times with drunk friends.
Breakaways.
But it had breakaway cables. So if somebody tripped over your cord or something, it wouldn't yank your Xbox off the shelf. It would just unplug this breakaway part. So that was a neat innovation that you never saw again because everything went wireless. But
yeah, no, you're right. It saved many times on many gaming nights for sure.
And Justin says Microsoft really went, can I copy your homework to Sega on the Xbox, didn't they? I think yes. I mean, they worked it was mentioned in the chat earlier, they did work with Sega on the Dreamcast. It says Microsoft Centennial Edition right on it. So there was definitely a lot of kind of overlap there, in the same way really that Sony aped a lot of stuff from the Super Nintendo when they came out with a PlayStation. The original Sony controller is a Super Nintendo controller with handles, really. But it's just it was very much Sega inspired.
Yes. And again, to Mike's point, and a lot of that I think had to do with the fact that they kind of worked together on the Dreamcast, because they put that Windows CE in there, so that way there was a better possibility of porting PC games over to that console. So, and again, I think you saw a couple games actually built off for Windows CE from that, but I don't know which ones they were. There wasn't like a ton, but there was some that utilized it. Now, the one other thing I want to bring up, because I remember it being funny, is that, and I don't know the whole backstory, so if the chat remembers, let me know. But this is a unique power plug for the Xbox, because there was a failure issue with the original one, and I remember having to send something in the mail to get
it's got a surge.
It has a surge on it and everything.
It's got a surge on it.
And again, I think it was only for certain model Xboxes, because again, mine was a very original day one Xbox, but then there was some hazard or something with the power plug that was with it, that then you had to do this mail order to get a replacement. And it's just funny because, to your point, it has like the little surge on it and everything else. So
I have a bunch of those that I acquired after my original Xbox. I didn't get mine until about a year or two after. It was the last console I ever got as a Christmas gift from my parents. And I was already moved out at that point, but they bought me an Xbox. And so I didn't have that. I had the regular plug, but I always wondered where those came from, because I never remember seeing them in stores.
Yep.
So that was a mail order for like.
It was a mail order. Yeah.
First I've seen those ever. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I had one too, but I don't even remember how I ended up with it.
You see them like if you buy a used Xbox, you see a lot of those.
Wow.
And quite often they don't work.
Yeah. Torque explained it better there. Yeah, but yeah, and again, I don't know that was every console. Like I said, I think it was just certain models that had that problem. So,
yeah. Got one more controller to show you. I'll save the other big, massive one for later when we're talking about how awesome other things are. But Xbox. It wasn't really until the 360 that the Xbox became known for lots of different style controllers that you could buy. And there were people who would collect them, and there were people and all that. But the original Xbox had its fair share of really cool controllers. And I've got one of them here. It's called the Gamester. And it's side-by-side sticks, but the handles have triggers in them like that. And you'll notice there's no face buttons up here, but it feels like two guns, and you've got your black and white and your back and start buttons underneath the thumbsticks. Here, I'm going to bring myself up full. Here we go. So you can see this. So you've got your black and white and your back and start buttons under here. You've got your D-pad right here. You've got these great triggers, but where are the face buttons? Well, the face buttons are in the inside of the thing. And it's so weird to use them while you're playing, but this feels so good. This feels so damn good.
So I'm assuming it was compatible with most games. So if you played by muscle memory,
it's an Xbox controller, yeah.
So if you played a game by muscle memory, and you picked up that controller,
you were in trouble.
You were in big trouble. That's cool, though.
I thought I've seen it all, Mike. Whenever you threw that up, that's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, since it's been mentioned in the chat, we will wind up the controller thing with me showing you the box for this. I'm not taking it out again. If you want to see this thing out, it was like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago on the Retro Bliss Rewind podcast, we did a fancy controllers thing and I showed it, but I'll show you the box.
Does he have the green or the blue buttons?
I didn't have all the cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Does he have the green or the blue buttons?
I don't know, but that is a mammoth box.
That's a nice
controller
too.
What's that?
That's a
That's a
mammoth
nice chunk
box.
of change in the box, mint.
Yes, it is enormous. This is a first model. The second model had blue buttons. The first model had 6 buttons. This thing is just damn incredible. I love this. I love the game. And man, and believe it or not, I picked this up for $150 used. I
Wanna double your
remember
money?
drooling. I was in college when this came out, and I remember drooling and just, man, I wanted it so bad. And I couldn't believe that I eventually got it.
I think all of us had that same period there because when that like it came out, it's like, oh, I want that so bad, but then the price tag was like, oh, there's absolutely no way I can get this right now. It's for the same reason I'm in college at that time. It's like there's no way because wasn't it like 250 like off,
I remember. So keep in mind, I'm in Canada. I remember it being like $400.
Yeah, I'd have to double check it here because for some reason I think it was like $250, which again, when you look at inflation today, that was very expensive to have for just one game, and especially
which eventually became 2 games. But you know what? I have to speak to Andy here. He says he never beat Steel Battalion. I beat it once. It is not an easy game to beat. I'm sure you guys all know this, but for anybody in the chat who doesn't, there is an eject button on that controller. And if you're about to die in the game, you have to flip open the thing and hit the eject button. And if you don't do that, the game erases your save file. If you die in the game, you die. And so it makes it really difficult. You can't just go back. We got Drunky Cheese in the chat. He's the save state king. None of that in Steel Battalion, dude. You don't eject and buy yourself a new mech, wipes your save file.
And that created a lot of suspense.
And it just makes it very difficult to get through because I think there's only like 8 levels or something in it. It's not a long game, but it takes forever to beat, and you got to be really good at it. And Justin, yes, there was a sequel on the Kinect, and it was god awful. I was so excited when it was announced, but like it's so hard to control with a Kinect. Some games really work. My kids loved the Kinect, and there's some games work really well. Steel Battalion is not one of them.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and it looks like Torque got it too. It was 200 when it first was launched in the U.S., which. When you factor what that would be like today, that's around $360. So, again, poor college student, all of a sudden, like, oh, I still got to have this, but there's no way I can afford that much for one game.
And
awesome
Drunky,
game.
I unfortunately never had that sniper rifle. And I did only a little bit of safe state shaming. I'm sorry, Drunky. And Torque is absolutely right. Like just the startup sequence on that controller is like an 8-step process. You got to flip all the things, then you got to hit the button at the right time when everything's charged up. And yeah, that game is an experience. If you have a chance to play it, it is an experience.
Speaking of games, I think it's a good time to start. Maybe should we go around the horn?
Heck yeah.
Let's talk about the games because this could take a little while. We've already been half the show. Our normal hour is gone. So if we go over, that's okay with us. But we do want to share some of our favorite games and why, and maybe reminisce about them a little bit. We're not going to
no specific
a lot of time.
It's not a top 5 or anything, but maybe just take turns saying one and going around and talk about different experiences.
Okay, go ahead. I'll start with you, Mike.
Sure. I mean, I kind of already did Steel Battalion, so I'll skip.
All right, well then we'll move down to Brian then.
No, I got.
I was going to say I'm sure he has more than just one game for the Xbox.
All right. Well, he's.
I'm going to go with Flat Out. Flat Out and Flat Out 2. Man, if you were just sitting with your buddies, it was ragdoll physics. It was really probably irresponsible of the publishers to make, because the whole point of the game mode that I played the most anyway was to use your driver with ragdoll physics flying through the windshield as like darts or a bowling ball or high jump or long jump. You like drive up this ramp and crash and send them through the windshield. Man, I love that game. It was just so much fun. Laughing our asses off, just launching this guy and like using him as a human dart. Great one to play after a few drinks with your friends for sure.
All right. Sounds like a good one. I have to check that one out. All right, Brian.
Yeah. Like I said, mine are in no particular order. I'm just going by what's on the top here in my pile. But again, we kind of talked about Sega, and like I said, there was many good games for Sega on the console, but probably one of my favorites is Panzer Dragoon Orta. That very good game because again, it was a great series on the Sega Saturn. We unfortunately didn't see anything with it on the Dreamcast. I mean, I think this would have been on the Dreamcast.
I bet it was probably in early development for the Dreamcast, and then it switched.
Yeah, but this is such a good game. Like, I can't recommend trying this one out enough. So,
all right, Casey, what you got, man? Tell us a little bit about it.
Project Gotham Racing PGR. That was launch title. That was the first game I played. I'm a big racer. You know, I've raced cars and karts at a high level for many years. And so for me, more like, you know, the racing games, that's where it's at. I do play everything, but that was the first one I popped in. I love that game. Still love it. You know, are we just going over one or are we going over a few?
No, you could talk about more experiences if you want.
You know, obviously Halo, that was, I believe I read about that for quite a while. It was supposed to be a PC game. And then I was so mad because I was a PC gamer at the time, pretty big. And I'm like, they stole Halo.
It was originally, believe it or not, it was originally being developed for Mac.
Yep.
Mac. Yeah, I didn't know that. And,
Steve
you know,
Jobs,
at the time, I did not like to play those type of games without a keyboard and mouse. You know, I've gotten accustomed to it, obviously, over the years, but Halo's the one that made me do it.
And Halo was the first one that actually felt pretty good on a console. Like I played the heck out of GoldenEye, but it's not the same as a mouse and keyboard. Like, but Halo felt good, and for me, like but Halo 2 was where it was really at.
Oh yeah,
Yep. Other games, you know, Forza. That was for many years my top racing game afterwards. But this, you know, the Xbox saw the first Forza game. You know, like most of us, there was the few Xbox Live games.
That whole series is good.
Awesome to be online and playing, you know, games. And what else did I have there? Oh, football. You know, when you had Xbox Live, all of a sudden you could play football games with other people, and that was new.
NFL Fever was one.
I did 2K3, and then 2K, you know, of course, Madden's ESPN. Over there.
Yep.
I have been corrected by Jeremiah Thomas. It's official. I honestly
don't argue.
Yeah, I mean,
Night Driver's better than Project Gotham too.
They were both great, but Halo 2 multiplayer for me was where it was really at.
And of course, I had the Steel Battalion. I didn't play it a whole lot back then, but I love that whole sim feel. You know, it felt like a PC thing to me at the time.
Oh yeah.
Those are some good games. I know when I was picking the games, now for me, I had nostalgia for the Xbox because I had got it for my kids when they were adolescents, but I have nostalgia for the games that I played with them. You know, are they like Andrew, my oldest? He loved Halo, but he played it by himself. We had one Xbox, and he just played. You know what I mean? So and I never really got into that. And even to this day, sometimes I struggle with those kind of games because like of what Casey said about, I was a PC gamer and I was used to navigating and moving and doing what I needed to do with a simple keyboard and a mouse. So that has been a struggle, but I'm going to bring a picture on the screen just to show you, because the only reason I have a copy of it here, but I have a green screen, so it's not going to show very well on, it's Oddworld Munch's Odyssey. It was mentioned by Brian when he was doing the history. I have my copy right here, but see what I mean? I got the green screen. There's so much green on it. But it, it's kind of Munches was a kind of a morph between an insect, an amphibian, and some kind of monster, and all these other characters in there were similar to that. And you just it was just fun to walk around and do the little things that you did in the game. And I don't even really remember everything about the game, but I know that it had such an impact that when I got my Switch, when I was looking for games, there's a version for the Switch now. So it's
they have all the Oddworld stuff on the Switch.
Yeah. So it was a pretty cool, and I liked it. And then since we're kind of going over multi, more than one, I guess. The Project Gotham series, there was a Project Gotham and a Project Gotham 2, I believe. Those were the two for the Xbox. And the Project Gotham series is great. I mean, it even bled over to the 360, and I don't know if there's one for the Xbox One or Xbox Series X. I'm not 100% sure about that. But racing,
I think there's one for the Xbox One at least.
Okay. And then there was a game. The rest of them are pretty much like driving or you're in something. And this one has a little bit of green in it, but I'm going to go ahead and show it what I can. It's called Freestyle Metal X.
Oh, okay.
And this is a BMX.
I was wrong. Project Gotham Racing ended on the 360.
So. Okay.
I thought there was one on the Xbox One. I was wrong.
Forza became king.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't find my copy. I've got somewhere. Was Star Wars Episode 1 Racing.
I loved that on the N64. I hate the prequels, but that game is awesome.
Yeah, I played that a lot with the kids. And then the last one that I got, and the reason why I picked this one is because of not only because I played it, I have a little bit of memory, but I played Mech Warrior on the PC. I loved Mech Warrior on the PC. So Mech Assault. And it's very, very similar to Mech Warrior. And I just love this game. And like
Wouldn't
I said,
it be great if somebody altered like all mech games on the Xbox to be able to be played with the Steel Battalion controller? That would be perfect.
Yeah, well, what was nice about that Mech Assault too, because that was one I enjoyed. It did so well with the Xbox Live because that was kind of more of a arcadey style Mech Warrior, and just being able to play on Xbox Live against other people. Just that game was so much fun at the time.
Well, that was the big appeal about Mech Warrior on the PC was the multiplayer.
Yes, because I had a LAN. I had a LAN in my house. I had 3 computers all networked, old school with the network cards and the hub and everything, and configure the IP addresses. That's fun to do. But it was
and then
worth
you just
it
needed
because
some friends.
If I had some friends, I'd been able to do something. No, I worked at night at the Postal Service at the time, and my buddies, we'd work 10 hours at night, and instead of going home and going to sleep, they'd all come over to my house and we'd play until 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then we would get maybe 4 hours sleep and then go back to work. But it was worth it because we just had so much fun with that. But the thing of it is, like I said, that's what made Mech Assault so cool, was because it reminded me so much of that, and the graphics were good and everything. So anyway, that's I blew my wad. I'm done.
Okay, well, I got a little more wad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do too. So whatever.
I'm gonna say the Burnout games. Like I love me some good arcade racers. So the Need for Speed games on the Xbox and later the 360. I think Most Wanted is probably my favorite. I believe that was on both. I had it on the 360, but I have it now on the original Xbox as well. But Burnout, man, and you're just like, you're trying to almost hit everything to increase your boost and all that. I played the absolute heck out of Morrowind. Elder Scrolls. Like, I was a big Daggerfall fan, and then when I was like, holy moly, with Morrowind, and that was just incredible. And believe it or not, I've never played Skyrim. But one game that surprised the heck out of me when Pirates of the Caribbean came out, the very first one, Curse of the Black Pearl, there was a game, and I was like, oh, movie tie-in games always suck, and all this. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl on the original Xbox is a phenomenal pirate game. It has nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. The whole thing, and I found this out after, is the game was done and was going to be made under some lame name that nobody would buy. And then this movie from Disney comes out and they license and slap the title on it. And it's a really damn good game. I remember loving that thing. So that's definitely a hidden gem. Can we talk about the air simulation game? Was ubiquitous on the old G. There were so many great flight sims. I was the big nerd. My big thing is World War I flight sims. Red Baron 3D, Blue Max, all these. And so I
those
had
kind of games that, yeah, you don't need a manual that's this thick to play, but yet you still have that flying experience.
You kind of do, because everything's mapped to keyboard controls. But I had the whole flight stick with the throttle thing in the late 90s, early 2000s. So that, and like the X-Wing games and all that stuff. But there were a lot of those on the 360 for sure. And the PlayStation, or not the 360, sorry, the original. Well, there was on the 360 as well, but the original Xbox and the PS2. It was a great era for them, and you don't see so many of those anymore, which is just a shame, because I love those games.
I love, if I could go back to one thing I forgot to mention about Project Gotham.
He's got a little more wad, guys.
I loved how you earn points for it's called kudos. So like if you're going into a turn and you're doing a slide or you're drifting or whatever, depending on how good a move that you did going into a turn or passing somebody or whatever, you would earn kudo points. And it was just so much fun when you would do like a really good one, because it would count up, like, and that sound of it counting up, it's like, oh man, that is so awesome. It just, that brings us back memories. That's just something I just remembered.
I gotta say to Jeremiah here, if that happened to me, I would have cried. I mean, I've already said on the podcast my Max Payne story, where my now ex-wife, whom I was dating at that time, totally my fault, but I was like, oh, check out this game. And I had only been using the autosave, and she played the first level and it autosaved and erased my game. And I never went back to Max Payne. I loved that game too. It was so good. But whenever you lose something that you've invested a lot of time in, it just hurts. And then you got to walk away. All right, Brian, I know you got some more.
Yeah, like, again, I don't have them all here with me, but like some of the ones I just remember enjoying, and like when I say some of these, like I don't know that they've really aged well. I mean, but like Bloodwake was really fun. I enjoyed that one a lot. Nightcaster, I liked the first one, but didn't like the second one as much. But again, it wasn't a bad game for its time. Another one that I know wasn't overly popular, but I liked, but I never got to finish it because little story with it. But Azric, I thought it was a good 3D fantasy platformer, and again, like we were able to control different elements and which change your weapons and stuff. And but I was using like cheat codes to be able to save anywhere, because like normally you could only save at certain spots in the game, but there was like a cheat code you could do to be able to constantly save. And like I was at the very end of the game and I fell through the map. And since I had the save feature like that, it completely killed my game. So I was not, so to the point of others, like I was probably a good 30 hours into the game. And then when that happened and I couldn't go back, I'm just like, yep, I'm done. But again, it wasn't a bad game. But I know it wasn't as popular. But
cheat codes so you can save anywhere. Evil is intrigued.
Yeah, right. Like I said, it was something I was doing to be able to, like I said, be able to save at any point, and it ended up screwing me over because, like I said, I ended up falling through the ground, and yeah, it just completely messed up the game. But the Kingdom Under Fire series, I liked that. Again, the first one I kind of liked better than the second, but again, that was a unique series that kind of was Dynasty Warish, Warrior-ish,
Okay.
if you've ever messed with those. Again, I'm a big Batman fan, so like these two games, which is funny, I still have my EB. This is my original copy that I bought, so it's funny I still have the EB game sticker on it. But both Batman Vengeance and Batman Rise of Sinzu that I thought were both fun games on it.
I gotta before you move on from Batman, I've got to find the comment. Maybe I missed it. Drunky Cheese had said it's like he thought Project Gotham was a Batman.
Right?
They fooled him. They fooled him, Larry.
It is confusing, but yeah. The name is like, what's Batman got to do with this?
Batman's racing the car.
Mm-hmm. But then another one that was good was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like I really enjoyed that game when it was out. Again, I mean, it's like an 3D action platformer. Now, again, I don't know that it would play well today, but again, at the time, it was fun. Go through here a couple more.
I've got, while you're looking for your next one, there's one that I forgot. It's a total hidden gem, and I had it, and I think I sold it way back in the day. I don't know if I still have it, but it was a chariot racing game. It was a racing game, but you're in chariots, and you can unlock chariots, and one person in the chariot is driving it, and the other person is fighting the other chariots. But you control both with your different thumbsticks and stuff like that.
I know what game you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
I think it's just called like Chariot Race or something.
I don't think
it looks like the lowest level kind of thing, but you can like unlock where you've got like a Minotaur on your thing. And like when you're taking a turn, you actually have to lean your guys over in the chair. It was a great game. I want to play some Xbox now.
Oh, so like Chariots of Fire.
So there it is. I think it was Circus Maximus, maybe. I'm gonna have to look that up.
But yeah, I'm gonna put them both up. The Dark Alliance series was a lot of fun on the console. Again, I know others kind of prefer the GameCube version, but I ended up having the Xbox version at the time. It was still fun to do. Multiplayer, Gauntlet, Dark Legacy, that was a good one for it.
Yeah.
And then the last couple here, of course, Conquer Live and Reloaded. I mean, that was a fun one at its time. And then I'm gonna put both of these up together. But the one was a exclusive, Dungeons and Dragon Heroes. Again, fun platformer, 3D platformer based obviously on Dungeons and Dragon universe, and it was a real fun game, and it was multiplayer. You could have up to 4 players, and it was even published by Atari. And the other one published by Atari as well, which was on multiple consoles, but Forgotten Realms Demon Stone. This was a real fun one-player game that was a 3D platformer based off of the Forgotten Realms series. So,
okay, give me a second here. So Jeremiah Thomas was right. The game is called Circus Maximus, and I'm going to share my screen here. Let me, because like when you see this, you're going to be like, oh, that looks like a lame $10 game. And it kind of does. But this game kicked so much butt, man. It was so good. Let me open this with photos here. Where is it? Right here. So you were racing, you had a guy in the back, and you were controlling both of them. So you're fighting with other chariots while you're racing the chariot.
While you're driving?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So here's the health of your chariot. Here's the health of the guy in the back, and then you've got your pace. And if you're going too fast, it might be okay on a straightaway, but if you want to turn, you're going to roll your chariot and lose the race. So you've got to keep your pace in that perfect little area. It was such a good game.
So we didn't discuss this prior to the show, but I got to bring it up. Emulation. There's some emulation that you can do on Xbox on PC, and the emulator is called Xenia. I'm not. You better have a decent graphic card when you do it. This isn't a 2600 emulator like Stella. It's kind of beefy, and it takes a lot of hard drive space if you can find a game that you can legally download. But it is fun to emulate, but the best experience is going old school. For me on a CRT, I know it's been said that it can be shown in HD, but we never played that way. We played on a CRT the whole time, so that's what I'm used to.
Yeah, sport. As Jeremiah Thomas is talking about here, sports games on the Xbox were great. I mean, that era the kind of late PS1, early PS2, early Xbox, sports games were really starting to become more simulations. Like they were still kind of arcadey, and they still are because they have to be fun. But they were really starting to get. I remember calling my dad, and he was my brother was playing NHL 99 on the computer, and I was like, I didn't know there was a hockey game on, because you had the announcers, you had the crowd, and all that. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. And yes, I was a gladiator in a previous life.
Now you just gave him an idea. He's going to dress up as one in one of his future videos.
One of the intros.
I've dressed up as many a warrior.
So what about launch stories? Does anyone have a good launch story? Because I have one.
Oh, tell us. Talk.
I don't, because I didn't get mine till later. Please
Let's
do.
go.
So I was there at Best Buy. I think Best Buy had only been open like a year or two here anyway, whenever I went. And it's the only time I've ever done this. There was 4 of us, and people camped. We didn't camp. We just stayed up all night. And the line, there was tons of people. It was a huge event. And I remember that there was myself and 3 buddies, and we all went to get it. And then somewhere in the middle of the night, one of my buddies got a call from a friend that was a girl, and he took off. We wouldn't leave to take him home. We all rode together. We're like, dude, we're not leaving the line. We're in a good spot. And he walked, I don't know how many miles. It took him hours. He left and walked to a friend of his house, because he didn't want to wait no more. And the rest of us 3, we stayed all night, went in, we were towards the front, we got all the stuff we wanted, but it wasn't like I think it was Torque that said it was available. There was so many people there. They ran out of a lot of things.
Well, keep in mind, Torque walked into a Best Buy and did that. He didn't get it lunch. He probably got it a little after.
So I was able to get everything that I wanted, and I spent a ton of money. It was a fun experience hanging out all night. And still, I would never do that again. I never did it. But I mean,
but your friend got laid.
I wasn't going to go that far, but there's a lot more
didn't?
to it.
Then it's not worth it.
Well, I wasn't going to say it on this, but
thank you.
There was
somebody cares.
It was a big.
I saved it for the end when everybody's tuned out, Phil. It's okay.
We still talk about it to this day. But 3 of us just hung out all night. And there were so many fun people there, and it was a fun time. And that's my only all-night launch story. I don't even do the midnight ones. I just wait, and then when I get it, I get it. But that was the one time I did. I was a huge Xbox fan for several years. And I remember networking them. It wasn't too long. I had a second one and then a third. And
You're
I remember
camper, Casey.
Well, because I didn't have, where I lived was the country. We did not have broadband. So for me to play, we would have kind of like the LAN party, but with the Xbox, it was fun to do. And there was 0 lag.
Yeah, you just had to have
I didn't do it.
Network, yeah.
I said friend.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
But yeah, no, I mean, you just had to have a little network switch, a little 4-port,
Yep.
5-port switch. And yeah, it was, no, I remember same thing, like friends would get their Xboxes, have an all-nighter, and
You could
literally
really use it
like
a computer.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, we'd have multiple TVs, everyone's, because, that was the whole thing back when you were playing Gold. Yeah, because I mean, that was the whole thing when you were playing GoldenEye, right? Because everyone got mad because you were kind of looking at everyone's corner and you knew where they were at. We're holy crap. We could have our own TVs here and have this, and oh yeah, it was great.
So we're getting some comments
on the PS1. I bought both 2 on launch and all 4 games, and it's like I hate screen jacking.
So we're getting comments here. It's like, I went with PlayStation, didn't have time and money for both. I was very beneficial in it. I had just moved out. So my brothers had a PS2, and then I got an Xbox. And so there were times when I'd trade them for a few months while I went off to college, and then we'd trade back when I came back home. So, I thankfully got the best of both worlds on that, because man, there was such great stuff on both. But I will say, because I love the PlayStation, I love the PlayStation 2, and I loved them even more back then. But playing the Xbox felt different. It truly did feel like the next generation, even though it was the same generation. It felt like that big of a step up from the PS2. It did not have the same library as the PS2.
No.
Well, and I think that's why it felt different, because a lot of the stuff was more independent developers that were, again, used to doing PC games, and you had a lot of them bring their stuff over to console, which prior to that they didn't have an interest, and Microsoft made those connections, and that's why you had games that felt different. Like they weren't like the traditional stuff.
Even the multiplats, they just felt different. They looked smoother. They looked like there was something special about that original Xbox.
And I was a huge
It will
Sony
always be a
fan,
nostalgic thing for me.
and the original Xbox turned me. I mean, I still bought them all, but Xbox was my number one console when that one came out.
Yeah, once I got the Xbox, that was my preference. Yep. But there were still games on the PlayStation that I wanted to play, so it was nice to be able to.
Oh yeah, you gotta have both.
No, it was definitely big to have both. But when it came to the only thing the Xbox was lacking, and they tried to fix it in the 360 and didn't, they had some success, but not, was just you just didn't have the JRPG style games that you had with PlayStation.
Final Fantasy stuck with PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, you had computer style RPGs, or I guess American RPGs, with Morrowind and a lot of other ones that played in that style. But if you were a fan of JRPGs, I mean, that's where the Xbox was severely lacking, because they just could not get those developers to put anything on it. So
yeah.
Well,
which honestly,
it wasn't until the 360 until you finally started.
I know this probably really hurts a lot of big RPG fans, but at that point in time, I kind of retired playing with any regularity JRPGs after Final Fantasy VII.
I didn't have time.
I know that hurt a lot of people, because there's been some great ones since, but yeah. This is the end of the show, actually, probably.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's about time
I'll have to watch it back to hear all about the Xbox.
Yeah, but before we leave, we can't have a Retro Bliss Rewind without having a shameless plug. Okay?
Oh, yes.
We got to have a shameless plug, because our buddy Brian Ditfield of BD Retro Mods is going to be in Pittsburgh. Is that right? You going to Pittsburgh?
Well, I will be, but even before that, I will be at the Cleveland Gaming Classic this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So where I'll have my what I kind of dub as my BD Retro Mod with a free play area that's going to be showcasing a lot of my different custom controllers, and even some that are unique to that experience that were just kind of like proof of concepts. And And one of the changes from last year of doing it is I'm going to try to have more homebrew independent games on play using those things, and it's going to be a good time.
So
you know what I'm thinking?
Now I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking a BD Retro Mods Steel Battalion controller for the Atari 2600.
Oh.
And Sam, we're old enough. We're all in our 40s, 50s, and actually one of us is 60. Woo!
Well, so I know the dates of Pittsburgh. It's October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I believe it's the 3 days. When is it this weekend? You're in Cleveland?
So Cleveland
this coming weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Cleveland Gaming Classics this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a great show. If you're around that area, highly recommend checking it out. Nice. And but then yes, I will also be a guest at the Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, which is October 3rd through the 5th. So
which I'm hoping to be at. I am hoping to be at. I can't guarantee, but it's actually, it looks before the show I wasn't real confident, but now I'm kind of. So
Sam, if Phil was an early starter, I could be his son.
Woo! Yeah, I was 16 when he was born. So, yeah, I
will be 44 in actually I'll be 44 next week.
Also,
a week
I'm
and a day
more
away,
than 16 years older.
Yeah, 24th.
The drawers I'm wearing are older than that. Okay.
And on that note,
yes.
On that note, we're going to end the show, but I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank the panel, Mike from Mike's Gaming Gala, Brian from BD Retro Mods, and my very, very special friend and special guest, Casey, the Intellivision gamer, talking about the Xbox, kind of going back in time and telling us about the games and the experiences that we've had. So I've really, really enjoyed this. And so what I wanted to let you guys know too is you guys, if you have an idea for a show, hit me up. I can't guarantee we're going to do it, but we're definitely open to some topics that would be good for the retro gaming community in general. So please hit me up or hit Mike up, and we will definitely consider it. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. And with that, we will see you next time on Retro Bliss Rewind.